Hello everyone. Now I want to show you how to use a timer event inside a task listener. So here we have a task listener. Here we have a user task, and inside the user task form on the details we have a task listener. So as you know, task listeners are only available in user tasks. So here you have to define what kind of event it is. So now I'm going to show you how to use a timeout event. So there are several types of events that you can have inside a timer, inside a task listener. You can have a create, assignment, complete, delete, update, or timeout event. So now I'm going to show you how to use a timeout event. And when you use a timeout event, you can also specify a timer, a listener ID, but that is not mandatory. You can use an ID if you want or not. So uh, and here listener type, the type is expression. So in the expression you use a method inside a bean. So you have to first define a bean. I've defined a bean here, a spring bean, and inside the configuration I've shown the how you can use a method to produce to which returns a bean, and you have to define the bean here, and a method called do something. And here in the expression, so in this listener type you have an expression, and in the expression you said you use the do something method inside my bean and pass in two arguments with the task, and also the task is basically the task entity, and also the task dot event name. So you can pass these two arguments, and since you have defined it as a timeout, you can also specify what date you want, um, and duration you want, after what duration it should trigger, and also a cycle. So if you want a cycle, it means that it repeats after every 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or something like that. So let's try a cycle. Um, let's try the example cycle pt one. Let me try 1 second. So file save, and now I'll run the task. So here after since it's a cycle, it should print out this stuff every 10 seconds up to 5 times. So not 10 seconds. Okay, up to let me change this to 10 seconds. Up to 5 times in 10 seconds, this will be printed. So let's try this. I'll run this. So Spring Boot IntelliJ is starting the application. So of so there is an error. ID is mandatory in task listener. So we definitely require an ID. My timer. Let me use my timer as an ID. So save the file again and let me restart it. So the event type is timeout. After 10 seconds, it should start, hopefully. Okay, so it has printed out after 10 seconds. So it can print out about at least maximum of 5 times in 10 seconds. So we can see it already has printed out 2 times. Yeah, so it's repeating the cycle. So that's how you can use a timer. So notice that here I've not implemented the task listener interface. That is not required. That's only required for a delegate expression, and or you can use it in a Java class. If you specify this as a Java class, you can use that, or a delegate expression, you can use that. So the timer definitely requires an ID, and here I've named this as my timer, and the event type is timeout. And you can also specify, let's say, a date, a duration, let's say. So I'll specify duration as 1 second, and I'll restart this. Okay, I'll remove this description, and let me restart this. I'll save the file. So now you can see every second. So after 1 second, it prints out the required uh, parameters. It prints out the task and event name, task subject ID and event name. So now let's try date. So if you want to print out the date, let's say 2024-02, that's today's date, 16, and time is 14:10. Now the time is 14:10. Let me print out our at 14:11, 00. Okay, now let me print out. So it should print out at 14:11. So right now the time is 14:10, so I'm waiting for 14:11. So at 14:11 it should print out. So now it's 14:11. So that means our date format might not be correct. So okay, so it's printed out. So the date format is correct. So now you can see that you can use a date, you can use a repeating cycle, and also you can use a timeout duration. So that's how you use timers in a task listener or timeouts. That event type is timeout. And I've used an expression, and yeah, so that would be my bean, which uses the method do something.